We're back at Pete Waterman's to catch up on the latest progress with the brand new Making Tracks 3 layout. You'll be able to see that this summer in Chester Cathedral and at the Great Electric Train Show in October. Come with me, let's go and find out what they're up to.
Well, I'm glad to say that actually we are bang on time. We're where I wanted to be. I mean, I've always said it would be the end of February I need to be finished. The truth is, of course, it's never been the end of February. It's always been the second or third week in March. But to give myself a little bit of leeway, I've always said to myself, be finished by the end of February. What you can see is it's pretty well finished, all but for two boards, and they're the M boards, which will never be used, only ever at Chester. So I can do them in literally a couple of days. There's still a lot to be done. The roads are to go in. As you can see, the road isn't all the way through yet. We've still got the buildings to do under the canopies. The car park here, and the car park and the football pitch on the top. There's still the radio antennae to put in, and there's still the yellow lines on all the platforms still to do. And so it's detail now. We're down to detail. Putting in, you know, the camouflage or the greenery, all that's got to go in yet. But essentially, you've got Milton Keynes. The big jobs have been done. As we're at the end of February here, we're pretty well bang on where we wanted to be. And that was optimistic. I have to say, everybody this year, I think it's amazing what they've achieved, because this, compared with 1 and 2, is an enormous task, way above what we've ever tried to do before, just because of this piece, just because of the stations and the buildings and the complexity. Just the amount of work building those buildings is enormous. I mean, it's enormous. I mean, this is very complex, as you can see. I mean, let's not underestimate this building. This building is quite spectacular, because it's not only a laser cut building and designed, you've then got all the 3D printing bits on it, because all the barriers are in, all the lights are on the top. So that in itself is a massive, massive project. The ice rink, I think, was the fun building, because that was lovely to build because it's so unique. And this car park, because of its unique panels, again, was fun to build. I mean, the station's obviously the biggest building, but it's in some ways, it's a simple building to build, because it's a box with reflectors on. These canopies have been the biggest job we've ever done. Of any layout we've done so far, these have been the most complex. And so far, you're looking at work that's taken over a month. And you can see they're still putting on the top glazing, and we can't put this in, and Aaron can't put the catenary in until they're finished. And this is an enormous job. You pass it by and you go, oh, it's just a canopy. But the reality is there is a lot of work in these canopies. And it is, without a question, of everything we've ever done, including the flyover at Rugby, this is the biggest job we've ever done, the most complicated, and the guys deserve credit because it's been a long and tedious job because it's so fiddly. And our feeling was if we didn't get it right, it wouldn't look right. And you know, they're working on the stairs are in, which are the back parts, but the lifts they're working on now upstairs. So, you know, all the steps are in there, all the lifts are in there. I mean, I guess we could have not gone to that length, but if somebody had put a video camera on a truck coming up, you would have seen that there's no stairs, you know, no actual stairs on the stairs. It wouldn't have looked right. So that's been a big job. Aaron's work this year is exemplary because the catenary on this layout is way, way, way above what we've ever done before. I mean, if you look at, you know, the short platform ones, I mean, if you just look at the work in the actual droppers, it's phenomenal. So, you know, if Aaron's talked everybody to death before the years, this year he's got something to talk about. I mean, and his balance weights are literally a work of art. So a big feature will be the uniqueness of the catenary at Milton Keynes. It's all modern. It's not like making tracks 2 and making tracks 1 were basically, you know, the first catenary and the second catenary, you know, first generation, second generation. Now you've got third and fourth generation. So, you know, when we put all three together for Milton Keynes, for the Great Electric Train Show, you'll actually see catenary from period 1 all the way through to modern day. I particularly like, on this layout, is the use of the shuttering, which is very modern, but you see it all over the country now, motorways, everywhere, and you very rarely see it modelled. Sometimes they put bolts through the Larsen shuttering to secure it from moving. Well, what I've done, what I've tried to do, I'm not saying I've been successful, I've tried to show why, because when you get down there, if you look, the wall's starting to move. And I've done that deliberately because it's been pinned back in this area. It's been back with lock bolts. And I've tried to show that why they do that. Because that happens all the time. They put the Larsen shuttering in, they build the buildings and it pushes. And then what they do is they dig out and they push the bolts in, which is what they're doing currently at Euston for the HS2 station, to make sure nothing moves, that anchor bolts. And I just thought, again, you know, nobody does it, but we do it because that's what the Rear Railway does. Well, what you can see in the background here, Phil's just finishing off the last board in what we would call the station section, because we're now running trains up and down. So we now can, you know, we need to clean the track again, but we've been running trains, so we know now that we can change the points and the trains will run. So we've checked that the pendolinos all go through the station and don't hit the platforms. Now it's getting things to run, lighting the signals, but the biggest job now is to start putting up the catenary. So as soon as these two are in, we can start to put the catenary in. I think this is a really exciting project, and I'd like to thank all the people that follow us on Facebook and you know, on a Sunday night, and Instagram. It's fantastic. We're up to sort of 7 or 8, 9, 10,000 followers every Sunday night. Lovely comments, and it's nice to see people do appreciate what we're trying to do and, you know, push the hobby forward. So that's really nice. But the really exciting thing this year is Milton Keynes, when all the work that we've done over the last 3 years, we've got to put together to make 152 feet of railway. You know, we've proved, you know, when we said 3 years ago we were making a 64-foot layout, people thought that was, wow, it's amazing. You know, and people came the first year, they were very, very kind to us, what they said, you know, and we built that layout in a bit of a vacuum and with lockdown, and it was quite a difficult project because the church wanted one thing when we started, changed their mind halfway through, so we ended up with a compromise layout. Last year we didn't have that compromise, and I think, you know, the comment and the figures at the cathedral was staggering, you know. Now to put all three together, you know, we can get a vision of what we were trying to do 3 years ago in one place. The enormity of that task excites me. It excites me to think that we're going to be giving the public a controller and saying, right, you're going to run this train. And these kids, and they will be kids particularly that we want to run it, will be running pendolinos at 125 for 340 feet. Now that's, you know, that's beyond my wildest dreams as a kid, to think I would have a controller and could walk round a layout that effectively was 5 scale miles, you know, of railway. That's just your dream, and they're flat out. You know, so you know, you're going to enjoy it, and that to me is what we set out to do with Making Tracks 1. It was all about movement and excitement, and the ultimate movement and excitement is all three together. Because, you know, did we ever sit down and think of like what we could do is join them all together? No, we didn't. And it was only when you guys came up with the idea that people loved a station, and we said, well, we're going to build a station. We've got to build an amazing station, which this, you know, which Milton Keynes is. But then when you put that with the other two layouts, it becomes the biggest, the most, you know, impressive 00 layout ever, and it proves that you can achieve anything if you put your mind to it.
So there you have it. Trains are now running on the Making Tracks 3 layout of Milton Keynes Central in 00 gauge, and we're, well, both me and the whole Railnuts team can't wait to see this layout fully operational at the events this summer. So remember, you can see the layout at Chester Cathedral from July the 26th to September the 2nd, and just as important is the 2023 Great Electric Train Show on October 14th and 15th, where you'll see not just this layout, but Making Tracks 1, 2 and 3 all joined together for the very first time, measuring 152 feet together in one piece. This is what we think is going to be the biggest portable 00 gauge layout ever built. We can't wait to open the doors to the Great Electric Train Show, and well, keep watching. You'll see more about Making Tracks 3 here on Key Model World at keymodelworld.com/making-tracks, and you can see more in the future issues of Hornby magazine as well in the run-up to the show. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.